What is good, YouTube? It's Aaron back here with the channel, and today we got On the Bubble. After we fixed all the audio difficulties, it's nice. We got Logan, we got our Aditya replacement for Rahan, and we got our boy Brad from the UK. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I'm tired, but I'm going to combat the EPs to chat with some absolute killers today. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Cool. Of course, yeah. So we've got meta discussion. We've got the updated tournament pack that we're gonna go over really here shortly, and then Brad's got a discussion for us on like mental health and like Yu-Gi-Oh as like a competitive endeavor and how to like handle that appropriately. So that'll also probably lead into my Metafy guide that's coming out later. So it'll probably be a good 1-2 in that regard. So let's hop right into it. We've got the tournament pack, ultimate tournament pack. Logan read over this first. I'm gonna let him take it over, and then we'll kind of all react to it.
Yep. Yeah, so basically, I think it was starting in July. I think it's
that sounds
after
right. July 8th,
Nationals.
I think I saw.
Yeah, I think it's either right before Nationals or right after. Basically, they'll be replacing the OTS pack with the Ultimate Tournament pack, and then also the Ultimate Tournament Winners pack. And these sets have like, I think they're 50 cards now, double the amount of Ultimates. I think like one of the coolest things in these as well is that they brought back the old Ultimate Rare foiling from like the GX era. At least that's what they say. We'll kind of have to wait and see if it actually ends up looking like that. I feel like there's been a couple of times where they said that they were fixing Ultimate Rares and then it never really happened.
Yeah.
And there's like I think you can, if you scroll down a little bit, you can see there's like a Dark Magician.
Yes.
Yeah,
Chaos.
you can like enlarge that and you can see the foiling on that.
Oh wow.
It's like etched better.
Yeah.
So that should like increase the value, I think, of some of the Ultimate Rares. And then this set also is I believe it's all ultra rares, and then like the lowest rarity is ultra rare, which will replace the supers and commons. And then you have the 6 ultimate rares, and then the winners pack. I think the only difference in that is they have the emblazoned cards, which were, is that the rarity from the World Championship packs?
I think that's the way. Yeah, usually it has like some kind of logo on it. I'm not sure what.
Yeah,
similar
so
to what's in
Three
Battles of
different emblazoned
Legends.
logo versions: OTS, regional, and judge, depending on how you got it. So it sounds like there's 3 different types of emblazons on them. So like for the Veiler, I think there was WCQ and there's also been national. So I assume it'll look something similar to that. For it'll say like judge, it'll say regional or OTS.
Yeah, so and it also sounds like the I believe they said the chances of pulling an ultimate rare are double what it used to be. Yeah, it says the insert rate of ultimate rares are doubled from before. But I think like one of the most unique things about this, or one of the best parts about this, is they mentioned that the cards included in the set are pretty much not going to be filler. It's going to be like either staple cards that people need. It mentions that you like it'll have like building blocks for newer players. I don't know if that means like, you know, hand traps,
More
board
Fuas,
breakers, stuff
probably.
like that. Yeah, Fua, stuff like that. And then it also has the Lost Art cards. The Lost Arts will be moving to this.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to be getting rid of the other version of the Lost Arts or just including these. And then it also looks like we'll be getting the alternate art cards, like the Thunder King Ryo might be in this. Yeah, so it kind of sounds like every card in the set is going to be like not really bulk. Like even like your worst pack was probably going to have like 3 playable cards in it, which is nice. It gives a reason to go to locals, and also just like kind of makes winning locals and winning regionals important. Which is another thing they will be giving these out at regionals.
This one is the Ultimate Tournament pack still has the commons, super rares, and ultimate rares in it, and then the winners pack is a 1-card pack of a 40-card set.
So yeah, in terms of like the structure, it'll look like your old OTS pack, but there's more cards in it, and it sounds like the pool will be less bad, so that's good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I see on here. Yeah, it does say 6 ultimate, 14 super, 13 common. Where did
this is the structure of it, and I think
I see the winners pack is all ultra.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah,
all ultra rare with 3 different versions based off this one card. High demand tournament call cards, and then restricted availability. So yeah, this all sounds good. Like this is what a lot of other games do. Like One Piece was known for this, like right out of the gate. And then like I think Pokemon's been doing this forever. So nothing really negative to say about this. As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I guess the only thing we don't really know is like if you win a regional, do you get like just 1 pack of this, or does it tell us if we get like more or what?
I think it's just one. Top 4 at OTS, top 16 at regionals, and certain judges. So now they're upping the promo to top 16 at regionals, which is nice. Like, it makes it a little more accessible, but like these aren't like the same as like the YCS pack, so it's going to be a completely different roster of cards altogether, which is good. Like we're not over. Like if we had Valor in YCS, WCQ, and then also regional judge, whatever, like it would just be like worth nothing. So now having different cards in the pool, I think, is a good decision.
Yeah, this is a great change, and probably just means they'll be doing more stuff like this. In the future.
It's definitely decent for like I think more so. I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but it's like definitely decent for us in Europe because I think based on my history of playing the game, sometimes prizing is at the discretion of the OTS or the store, and in history, like it has literally been like I've topped the regional and received like 4 packs as opposed to like I know in some regionals they get like a box or sometimes I get no packs. It's no additional prizing. It'll just be.
Yeah, I think out of every regional I've ever played, there's only one host that I've ever been to that actually gives out like additional prizing other than just the mat and the deck box.
Yeah,
that's the Denver, Colorado regional.
Yeah, so to get this sort of stuff on top, it would be like a massive improvement
for sure, and also like makes OTSs like look even more appealing. And I think it feels like they're doing more in terms of OTS. Like I think in the States, like it feels like those weren't super common. And then there was like a whole week, I think it was the beginning of March, where there was like very few regionals, and like we had a bunch of OTSs. Like there was one in San Antonio, which is an hour for me. I've never seen an OTS in Texas like at all. So it's nice to like feel like they're expanding that program a little bit more. So yeah, I mean,
it's funny that you had that experience because my area got like no OTSs.
Yeah, I mean, all I remember was that there were a bunch of OTSs going, but like one is more than like I said I think I've ever seen. There may have been like 1 or 2 in Dallas and Houston, but like historically, like we've got more VIPs in the area, we've gotten more OTSs, so hopefully we'll see those still continue to grow.
Yeah, my area was saying that they're having problems signing up for the OTSs and also for the 3v3 VIPs. So I don't know if that's on the store or on Konami, but
yeah, that I have zero backend information on.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on this, Aditya?
Not too many. I mean, like, yeah, the uptick in OTS stores, OTS championships happened. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend any of them the weekend of, but like the card store that I go to, the card store that sponsors me, Card Haven, they got their first OTS championship. So yeah, I think the number of OTSs in Dallas have like really gone up, especially compared to last year where there were only like a few, right?
Yeah. Looking forward to these winter packs?
Yeah, I definitely think it is something to look forward to now. I mean, I always go to locals like once a week at least, and I think it is a really, really good shift away. It is a really good shift towards like getting people to like actually attend their locals now. Because like locals numbers have been like kind of dwindling on some days, some weeks.
For sure. So, and I think the one thing I'll add is like with products kind of fluctuating over the course of the past couple of years, like a lot of the core sets haven't been great, and sometimes like sets like Maze of Muertos, maybe there's some value in it, but like sometimes accessibility is low. Like having this consistent OTS pack that obviously eventually the prices will teeter off, but like if it's stuff like Lost Arts, those may hold a little bit more value, or like there's like ultimate rares of cards that are actually played like that. Hopefully, will like maintain value over longer than some of these sets that may or may not like be valuable over the course of a month or two.
Even the value of like the OTS mats, because OTS mats can sometimes be quite lucrative or valuable. I was fortunate enough to win one of the Forbidden Crown ones recently, and that was actually one of value. But I've won like there's ones in the past that I've got, which was like the Dark Hole Dragon mat, and that's like half the value. So like it's like it's tat against like what is actually good. So like it's good that they're kind of like at least giving more value to and incentive to perform, because otherwise you just duking out for a whole day to win maybe a good mat.
Yeah. This season they did do a really good job on the playmat and also the deck box with like the blue eyes like etched inside.
It's
really sick.
Cool. Yeah, really nice.
Yeah, this is like probably the first time in several years that I've actually wanted the prizing for regional.
Yeah, I was gonna say here, if you like they haven't seen it, like I can just like crack this one open real quick.
Bro, how you just casually has one?
Wow, product opening.
My God.
Yeah,
we got so many exclusives. We got the product opening. We've got Logan's deck profile. It's gonna be such a good.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it through the camera, but like on the back.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be pretty tough. Oh, you can see
it. That actually
that looks really good.
Dude, I was excited about like the last one, like the orange one, and now I'm like, Yeah, I was so happy I won one of these. It's gonna become like my daily use deck box.
Yeah. All right. So round of applause for Konami. They're doing good stuff. So all I gotta do is maintain product like just good product stream, and otherwise like I have no complaints for Yu-Gi-Oh at the time being. Like we'll talk about like the game health as a whole, but I think in terms of like auxiliaries like pricing and tournament structure and stuff, like they're doing their best. So good.
Yeah, it's like late, but it's better late than never.
Yeah, for sure.
I had a pretty like long-winded conversation with friends about this, and it's because like they've pivoted from Yu-Gi-Oh to Riftbound, and it always comes from the position of money or pricing typically. And then they say, like, so I'm coming to them and saying like, and again, this is what I'll be kind of touching on later, is kind of like me seeing the positive in something, or like just seeing the merits of like, oh, this is good change, and immediately it's met with like, yeah, but they have to do that, and like, your game kind of like is slow, like all these games are doing X, Y, and Z, and to be fair, I imagine that these changes are coming more out of necessity. We've had decades of pricing being a bit subpar or lackluster, almost comical, with like Jesse leaving like the frame at a YCS.
Yeah.
But like with games like One Piece, Lorcana, and Riftbound, immediately like coming in within their first 3 to 5 years of existing, they've got good price purses, really strong incentive to play the game, and just good gameplay as well.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh is probably one of those games that's like, okay, we can't be complacent now. We actually have to kind of raise the bar for ourselves. And that's maybe there's that cynical part of me that's thinking the same thing, but I don't know.
Hey, this is one of the positives of capitalism, guys. Competition breeds success,
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, in all seriousness, if like One Piece, Lorcana, and like other games didn't come in like right around COVID time and do this, like, there's no guarantee this would have happened. So, I'm happy that whatever caused the change, it's making good changes. So, good on them.
I think it's pretty possible too that Konami just has different people working for them now because of
that may have been because the original creator passed away.
They're doing a better job on like the articles, the Genesis updates, just like more communication. I think they might have just either hired more people or like assigned people to work on that aspect of the game specifically.
They may have just like split up TCG OCG as well, where TCG had a little bit more agency to do stuff. So
it definitely seems that way.
It may not be that correlation or is causation. It's just like it just happens to be a coincidence, maybe.
Yeah, but like, whatever the cause was, I'm content with it as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, same.
Alrighty, so we are a week late on La Paz, Bolivia, but congratulations to living fossils themselves, LeBlanc, Jesse Cotton, and Patrick Hoban. Jesse Cotton is back in first place in terms of overall YCS wins. I think he's at 8, right? And if you count like Konami event wins, it's like 11 if you count like the UDS and the UUTS and Worlds and whatever, casual world champion. But yeah,
so he's I think that's like 5 YCS wins in 5 years or something, or 6 in a row or something.
Who, Jesse?
He's like won a YCS every year since like before COVID, I think.
I think at least one.
Yeah, since I think 2019, I think he's won one every year except like the one like remote COVID year. I think might be the only one he didn't win.
Yeah, which is just insane.
Yeah, like a fake year.
Yeah, he's just the GOAT. Like, there's nothing more to say.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And then he just like everyone will be like, oh yeah, he's like, me and him were talking about this lately. He's just like, yeah, people will still call me Wash, and I was like, bro, you were in the finals of back-to-back YCSs with like the card for card deck list. Like, what more do people want from you to like prove that you know what you're doing? But yeah, whatever.
But it's easy. It's easy, right? It's easy to be negative. It's easy to criticize.
Yeah, like fly, like obviously years and years, like decade of experience, but just like being able to do that so consistently, like fly around the world, and like travel's not easy on the body. Like he just shows up, competes, succeeds everywhere. So finally completed the Infinity Ring 2 of just like rings on every playable continent until they add whatever. Like I guess if you want to count Asia, but he has like there's no TCG in Asia, so we'll see if he ends up trying to do an OCG side quest at some point.
Oh, wait, there's one more ring that he needs to get.
I'm listening.
What's that?
The webcam ring.
Sure. Yeah, so Rahan's got that over Jesse Cotton still. Shout out a Remote Duel Invitational. That's the one thing that he'll never have. Alrighty, so La Paz, a bit smaller than we were kind of anticipating. I think it was like 81 teams, something like that, 83, 85, I don't remember. So yeah, it was a pretty small event, only 10 rounds total. But the top cut is a lot of names that you'll recognize. The top is just a lot of Dragotail branded, which I'm not sure if that's a surprise to many people, but that was... I was kind of expecting a little bit of a downtick. I was kind of curious how the deck would play into the Azamina variants, and seems to still be performing very well. And then we obviously see like the Yummy variant. So this was Yummy Radiant Tri. 2 of those in the finals along with Jesse. And then the other side was Vanquished Soul, Yummy, I think Pure Yummy. And then Branded, which was Andres Torres, Rafael Reich, and Juan Mateo. He was a world representative, I think, this past year, if I remember correctly.
Not this past year. It was 2023.
23 or 24?
23.
23? Okay.
He lost to Pauly in the finals.
Oh, he was playing Sword Soul, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Sword Soul.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that is that. We'll go over some specific deck lists. The team drivers, Francisco Bobadilla, again, another fantastic finish. He top forward, Fiendsmith Yummy for his entire team. They go over their entire deck list. I think I may have it pulled up. And then I wanted to give a shout out to so Cam, G, and Julian Khan, who G just got, I think, second place in the DC Cup, so congrats to him. Obviously not what you want, but fantastic run nonetheless. I think all 3 played the same deck lists from the looks of it, yeah. And then Franco Persona, a friend of mine from Argentina, on Expecania, they have a pretty interesting Draco Tail list where this says Magistus, but it actually is only one what's the card? The Crowley, I think.
There's one Crowley, and
just Crowley.
I think they played one Spenta as well.
So I think they main Crowley, and I think they side Spenta Zeroa.
I see, yeah.
So I think his deck profile is on Santoli's channel. If y'all want to go check that out, would recommend. It's an interesting take on the deck that I think is pretty solid. Initially I was like kind of not sure what to think of it, and I got kind of convinced based off of their theory. So definitely worth the shout. I don't think the list is on here. We go over it, yeah. So yeah, go check out, I think, Franco Persano on Santoli's channel. But yeah, in terms of deck lists, Jesse's is on his Twitch, I think, so I can't go over that. If I remember correctly, it is like within 3 cards of his Sydney list, like he just shows up with the same deck and continues to do well. So, alrighty, and now we have what is this, finals? Yes, Crystal Blanc's list. I think him and Hoban played very similar. One played Fractal Nerval, and the other one did not. I think that's like the only real change.
It was like significantly more heavier on the Radiant engine, if I'm correct. It was like 3 Swen, and I think it was maybe like 2 Eldum in Hoban's list, and then LeBlanc played like all the Tri Brigade names.
You're correct, yeah. 3 Swen, 2 Eldum, and then only 1 and 1 of the kit, and then this.
Oh yeah, and Hoban played
on that. Sorry.
Hoban played he played more Vision and 2 MST as well.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys played this deck much?
I haven't. I was gonna say, does someone here more experience with me?
I wanted to after Kamal won.
Yeah.
But then it's like, for me, it was like after Dortmund, I considered that like I wasn't playing until national season, which is like Blazing Dominion, and then like it was like you're looking at the cost of playing Radiant Typhoon cards. It was like because he cited like stuff like Corsair as well, so I just didn't bother. And so I played an OTS in Cardiff, and it was I just played Fiendsmith Yummy to help the cards. This cool. I think the deck is really cool, and because of the concept of bridging, I think it's something that's become more common. But it's definitely a very cool deck list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked like you said. Sorry, like if there was no Maze of Muertos, this is probably the deck I would have been playing for a while. It looks very interesting. And one thing I really like about bridging is like when you think of like the Azamina Yummy deck, it kind of is like a linear bridge where like you go from Yummy into Azamina into whatever third engine you can try and get to. But with this one, you can kind of go back and forth between all of them because, like, okay, you can put Nerval plus a Link 1 on board, and you can go into Cupsy, which can get you back into Tri Brigade, and then, if you go into Shurig, you can go into, like, Totem Bird, or you can go back into Cupsy somehow. So I love the flexibility this deck has compared to some of the other ones. It's a good deck. I think it has its problems, obviously. Like, I think Nib's an issue. I think Radiant Typhoon needs to be, like, a good going second engine to justify the deck, which obviously it was. I'm not sure if that's a specific meta thing, because I don't love Radiant Typhoon as a going second package right now. I'm very curious to see if this translates moving forward. But obviously it performed well here, so it has some merit.
I think one of the reasons they play it as well is like it's a somewhat decent contingency to Fua. I might be wrong because I haven't really played it as at all. But like when you consider that, Hoban played Mandate in his main deck.
Yeah, Hoban's list is definitely better into that, like for that reason. Like I said, two MSTs, you main deck the Mandate, and he plays Ascendance as well. So his deck is very Radiant Typhoon centric. didn't side the
I'll be
Crusade this time
honest,
around. I assume his list was very similar to Kamal's and Hani's from the 300th originally, where they were playing those cards. So obviously they've deemed them unnecessary, but definitely a part of the deck that I value is like being able to force that half board, or like do that half board. So yeah, congrats to them.
I definitely like this triple Swen list a lot more.
Yeah.
Because it lets you just threaten ways to like get to Ash Blossom and whatnot before like your opponent would fool you.
Yeah.
It forces them to use it at like really bad times.
Little
And
worse
then if
into
they
Prulia,
do,
Droll, way better into Fua, so it kind of just depends on what meta you're looking into.
Mhm.
And then this
as
is
well, like as a,
sorry,
as Aditya is saying, like as well, like I think the consensus about like the pure Radiant deck, at least what I took away from Dortmund, because I was speaking to Luke Tyler about it, was that like the deck is relatively inconsistent in terms of pushing through like a hand trap. So like if they see you just like summon Swen, they probably feel more inclined to just throw a hand trap at it, and then like then you have like more pushes after that with the rest of the other two engines.
Yeah, like I mean, if you want to play a Radiant Typhoon deck, like playing that feels like it's just such a better version of a Radiant Typhoon, where like you have the options to be more aggressive going second, and you still get to end on like Mandate plus a couple of negates. So that, yeah, if you value the Radiant Typhoon engine, like this is how I would play it over Pure personally. I'm a big hater of that deck for many reasons, but yeah. And then we've got this is the top 4 Fiendsmith Yummy list that Francisco and his team played. There are no Chummies anywhere in this list, so even if you can't afford Chummies
I
now,
didn't
like,
notice that.
This is obviously the deck that you can still play. But yeah, he just plays, what's it, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 19 non-engine. And then still made Kuroki, which I think you kind of need to do in the more pure Yummy variants. 2 Track, 3 Engraver, Lurie Lacrima. Still 2 Cookie, 2 Lollipo. I guess you don't need Pure Ice Map, or Pure Ice Map is like less good in this version, so I'm not going to be as hard on it. But yeah, like this just
I don't know.
seems solid.
Like I think like sometimes the logic was that like people say it's bad in format where flames really prevalent, but I think like it's like an additional push in a sense, because ultimately like I was thinking about this. I think like it's the same either way, right? Because if you activate Period Map and you have a name outside of that, like you actually get to play through a flame.
Yeah.
Whereas if you only have like a name, actually, I'm not being fair, because if you replace Period Map with a name, I think it's the same logic. But I think like having more Cupsy is definitely stronger than not.
Yeah, like
So,
that's the logic that I use for is like, would I rather have Cupsy or would I rather have Cookie or Lollipop? And I think the answer is like always Cupsy. The only exception to that is like, would you like how concerned are you with Droll? The Fiendsmith version is a little bit more than probably average, so just being careful in that way. So, and then he also included the 1 Hornet drones. I think this is different from his Mexico list, if I remember correctly. Includes Hangari and Camilla. I assume there's some lines that prefer to have the access to it in that way. Maybe some Fiendsmith line off of maybe like just Engraver likes having it in the deck.
Yeah, the Fiendsmith, it also makes Nib better. Just like
true.
going second.
Yeah, that is something I forgot because I think me and you discussed that, or I've been discussing that lately. It's just like Camellia allows you to play cards like Bishios and Nib more effectively because like what they just like don't clog your board. Like all right, just get back an engine. So yeah, no Charmies anywhere. So like his going first, whenever he does get Chummied, he's allowed to half board really efficiently. I'm impressed that Ogre main deck performed as well as it did. Obviously I think like his team's just very good, but I'm really curious how this card affected his experience. I don't remember listening too in depth on that part.
I think as I've like at least as I've discussed before with some other people, like Ogre's a very like underrated card.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is really really strong, just because of how much after it resolves, how much your opponent has to commit to the board like after the fact. Especially because like I've given the example like Ogre on Diabellstar the Black Witch. So they've already had to pitch 1 for Diabellstar to summon it, and now they have no access to the DMod engine, and now they have to pitch another card out of their hand for Deception. Like it's just like the card is basically taking 3 cards away from your opponent.
I think it's probably like if it's like your second or third hand trap, you probably love the card. But yeah, like if it's like your first, maybe second, it's not as good. But like in his deck where he plays 19 or whatever number, like he's gonna see that number.
So
probably
if you're kind of playing a deck that's like leaning on the 12 to 15 non-engine range, this isn't probably a card you're going to play. But if you're going over that, I think Ogre's like almost mandatory in that spot.
Also think there's like quite a few ogre spots that people aren't really thinking about. Like against the Draco Tail deck, like ogreing the synchro is really solid.
Yeah.
There's also times where like ogreing like a Malulu is not bad at all. Where it's like just keeping them off of names and keeping them off of material isn't terrible. Obviously it's going to be like lower impact, but it's not really an unplayable card against any matchup. It just varies on like how good it is.
Yeah, his Vanquish will start obviously if they don't open K9.
Yep, start. It's
I was
solid
gonna say
against
the one
Radiant
thing
Typhoon.
in this matchup or in this deck specifically, like you mentioned Malulu, which like in theory, like okay, what if they still roll a fusion? They can, but when you're playing the Yummy deck, getting Malulu or like stopping Malulu from like resolving is really really impactful because now like your Snatchy, let's say it gets popped, you can still surprise it back. Like you're not actually in like a super negative game state where like if your surprise gets or your Snatchy gets stuck on board and it gets Malulu, like you just like can't play the game. So
and even in most
stuff
matchups,
like Albaz too.
Yeah, I was about to say Albaz was like the biggest, like the one of the biggest like things to use more as a breaker than a hand trap.
Yeah. So then you play Cyframes or Talenting Sea, which is even better now because you have Draco Tail and obviously you can hit Hallowed as well. So plenty of hits for that card in the format, and then Droll, third Nib, third Ogre, and then Talent's called by Assist Yummy. So clean list, good player. He'll get that one at some point. Like I have nothing else really add.
Brad, I think you had some thoughts.
It was just like just for the sake of adding it to the list. It's very obvious, but like obviously in a format where Yummy's like super popular as well, like just and against decks like this where I think the average number of starters is like 16. I think it's more in this one because you add another engraver. But like when you're playing Yummy and you're like typically trying to hitting mignon basically is what I'm saying. Is like because they have so few starters, then they need to like commit more cards or like have more ways to play through ogre or mignon. But then it's like less consistent because they got like 16 pushes or something.
Yeah,
like that.
If you count literally Lacrima in this, it's 18. But like we said earlier, like if you pair ogre with like an imperm or whatever, like you hit Camilla or like you ogre like let's say you ogre Camilla, like that seems like something that may not even be that bad, right? Like it's something I hadn't even thought of until now. So
yeah, the only other two things. The only other two things I noticed with this list, because like obviously in Europe we don't have Camilla, we don't get Camilla until like the end of April. But like I was considering adding this to the like a deck when I play the Swansea Regional. One of my biggest like gripes with this with Yummy is Purge, and I feel like it's something of like how it slightly conflicts, and I'm wondering what the payoff is, like how much better it is or how good it is to warrant turning off Purge, but I guess it's just a matter of like how much it comes up in testing. Because from what I've heard or what I've seen him say is like this card that card is like so broken it's just like it almost like an instant inclusion. So that was one thing. That's the one thing I really hated about playing Pure Yummy when it first came out was like how often you might find that Purge conflicted with like people playing Engage. So that was the one thing that made me kind of reluctant to include it. And then the other thing I noticed was like he plays 3 Delta in his side deck. And it's like 3 Delta and 1 Gamma. And obviously it's worked for him, but one of the things I thought that is, again, something that's been brought up quite a lot is like how with Cyframes, they're not like any of these other hand traps where like if you see 2 of them together, they're both live. It's like very much like you want to have one Cyframe with any of the other like hand traps.
I think you just want the high impact stuff. It's just probably worth it. And like now there's only one Ketu, like hitting Ketu is like you're not gonna be as concerned about like the activation thing or whatever. So I think it's just like he's trying to maximize the hand traps. You get to like kind of tailor whichever powerful hand trap you have in the matchups. Like against whatever Vanquish, you want as many that hit starters as possible. So like Delta for Chaos Elements or Start even is probably just like good enough.
Yeah, I just noticed it's like 3 engraver and 2 tracks. Because before it was like 2 engraver, 1 tracks. Okay, no.
That's it. I definitely appreciate the biggest complaint I have with Yummy and Purge is one of the ways that helps that against like Draco Tail is like, okay, a Fallen of Virtuous problem. So like let's say you get Fallen of Virtuous, okay, now we have Engraver, and now we have 9 ways to stop Sting and Flame in our deck. So I think that's definitely a strong addition. Alrighty, so that's our Fiendsmith Yummy discussion. So we've got a few regionals that we're gonna discuss real quick. This is Philly from last weekend, so the week of the 15th, something like that. Or 14th, sorry. So Philly WCQ, this was 558. I think this was the biggest one over the past couple weekends. Logan Shepard, Logan Johnson's teammate for Vegas, was the winner with Draco Tail branded. I think is Deck Cross on Wunak channel. If you want his specific thoughts, and I think Logan helped him prep for it. I was actually in call with him the night before.
Shout out Beast of the East.
Yes. Ruben top. He got second at this. His write up is on his Metafy. He has a free thing that I actually kind of base mine off of, where he like does regional reports. So would recommend his write up on that. Joey Bellafor. Oh, I didn't even realize he topped. Good for him. Tyler, and then Anthony Zhu back on Gem Knight for some reason. I guess his deck's just good again, which is frustrating to see. But congrats to you.
I think he just doesn't want to play anything else.
I don't remember what he played for. I think did he play Draco Tail at Philly? I think he played like something.
Yeah, he played Draco Magistus. We actually played pretty similar lists.
Oh yeah, I remember. Okay, so yeah, he just got tired of it and just went back to Gem Knight. So respect. And then we've seen Odeon. So there's usually like that one random rogue deck. We got Odeon. We've seen an Enneacraft randomly top some of these events. So there's always that one deck that just somehow gets a good run in. So congrats. This is the remote regional. Wait, Indy was same weekend? Yeah, so this is the remote regional from this past Sunday. Logan and Aditya both topped, somehow dodging each other the entire way. Congrats to you boys.
I didn't even know he was playing until like round 7.
Yeah, you're lucky we didn't play.
For real.
Alrighty, so this is Logan's deck list. We got a on the bubble exclusive.
Exclusive.
It is the most Draco Tail branded list of all time.
Yeah. Main deck is like very standard. Extra deck is pretty standard. I guess the only thing I didn't play was I don't play Sanctifier. I play Double Albion and I play Rimbrum.
Oh my god. Well, let me scroll.
For the extra deck.
Sorry, so 2 Arthalion, Gulamel, Sharas, 2 Albion, Secretarion, just 1. And then SP is the flex spot along with the Lubellion and the Searing Dragon. And plays Rimbrum as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Rimbrum. And then it's pretty much like the same theory as like the deck I built with Shepard. Only changes were 3rd droplet instead of a nib. And then I decided to try Droll for the remote regional. It was actually really good. It was like insane against 7 out of the 8 matches I played. I played against like a whole bunch of like Azamina Yummy, several Sky Strikers, Lunalight. And then the side deck I just cleaned up a little bit. We had a whole bunch of 1-ofs in the side for the Philly regional. Yeah, it was like 9 or 10 or maybe even 11. I just kind of cleaned up the side. I think the only change I would make is I would cut this Pinkertops for a Druisworm, and I would look at the Imperm slot. I need a card for Radiant Typhoon going second. I have not found the card that I really like for that matchup. I've gone between like Imperm, Veiler, Mourner, Pank, Double Cyclone, like Lightning Storm, everything, and nothing feels like impactful enough. So definitely cut the Pank for Druis and then look at the Imperm slots. But other than that, I think it's like really clean list. Performed really well.
Yeah, and then 80, you played the pile deck if I remember correctly, right?
I did. I played the 60 card. Yeah, there's too many engines to count. I don't really have the deck list on me right now, but I will be doing a deck profile on Aaron's channel.
Oh shoot!
So
we are actually gonna do that at some point. I guess
we are. We do have to record that.
All right, fair enough.
Probably after this.
We'll see.
Or tomorrow.
Yeah. So yeah, it's based off Tripp's deck, obviously. Me and him chatted a little bit about it, but I don't think there's any drastic changes. Like I think Tripp built a pretty solid list. There's some things in the extra deck that I'm not convinced on, but otherwise, I think it's like a pretty like the baseline that list is I think very similar.
Realistically, I think there were like it was very like small, like 1, 2, 3 card changes.
Like I thought crossout in 60 was a bit silly. Just me personally, like I just couldn't justify one crossout, one Fua in 60.
Well, obviously because you're gonna draw the crossout and not the Fua, right?
Sure. I think Rohan was like, just play 3 Fua, and I'm like, you can play like just replace the crossout with Fua, and I'll think the list is better, like just instantly. So yeah, and then we see obviously more Yummy Azamina. If I remember correctly, you said there were a lot of that deck. Like that deck is rising in popularity for sure.
Yeah, I actually played against another 60 card deck in the event. I think it was like exactly Steven's list.
Yeah. And then I think
the Yummy deck was everywhere that that remote regional. My first 4 rounds were yummy.
Oh wow. So yeah, Yummy. Yeah, I mean that deck's just incredibly flexible. Like I don't remember how long ago it was, but I compared it to. I don't remember if it was Moon, but like Cup C is effectively just like Moon. Like it is incredibly just like accessible for a lot of decks right now. So I think a lot of the good decks will include Yummy, and then we see a Lunalight, which made second place here.
I played that guy the last run. He played really well. He just he bricked game 3. He outplayed me crazy game 1. I fooed him, and he just like didn't really say anything. And I'm like, I'll chain another foo. He chain called by on both my fooas. I'm like, dude, you got my ass, and I scooped.
Why didn't you just go Fua, let it resolve? Okay, Fua.
I chained to the Silverhound engrave.
Okay. Damn, he got your ass crazy.
Dude, I literally said, I'm like, damn, you got my ass. I scooped in like 3 seconds.
No, shame scoop.
His list is also different. Ryan used lists that topped, I don't remember the exact ratios, but I think he played like maybe 1 or 2 Black Sheep. But this list maxes everything. He plays 3 Tanky, 3 Masquerade. Or let me split it up. He plays 3 Fractal as well.
No heavy poly.
No, there's heavy poly.
Yeah, and he plays heavy poly.
He was playing really, really good against me. Game 2, I went first, and I literally set up like the maximum Draco Tail board with like an Ash Blossom in hand, and it was like if he had like if he had a spell in hand to send off of his droplet, I think there's like a pretty good chance that he establishes a Liger, and I just like didn't have an out to Liger in my deck.
Yeah. What's the Chaos Angel off of what?
Oh yeah, that was actually like he actually jump scared me with that.
How do you
when I played against?
Oh, I guess it's like
I actually got jump scared by Chaos Angel.
Perfect answer plus guy. This actually okay. This guy may be cooking.
Yeah.
Perfume is a level 6, isn't it?
It's
Perfume and also the Pendulum Monster, I think, is a light level 6.
Wolf, right?
Yeah.
Well, shit.
No,
I don't know if that ever comes up, but yeah. So
that was actually a crazy jump scare. I'll be honest.
Yeah. You're like, oh, thank God, it's only 2 darks.
There was something about because you won a regional in Niagara, and I think that was it, right? They didn't play heavy poly anywhere.
Yeah, Ryan won that regional without heavy poly.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, because I had been like playing with Ryan a bunch before, and like I was so biased to the fact that I thought Lunalight just didn't play heavy poly anymore because like Ryan didn't play it. I was like, okay.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I still think like I can understand not main decking it, but I think not side decking that card for going second is a little crazy. But I'm also not a Lunalight expert, so what do I know?
Also not a Lunalight expert. But yeah, Spiritualism on the side. Book of Eclipse is a card I've seen getting more popularity. Does anyone have thoughts on this? I don't see a massive appeal.
We just started testing this card like last night in the Radiant Typhoon deck. Okay. It seems okay. It's like it's a really good answer to like VSK9. And it's like playable against Yummy, but I don't know if it's like fantastic. When I played against him, he brought it in going first, and I think he was just using it more as like a defensive card, but also a card to just like dodge hand traps.
Okay.
No, I mean it is really important. Yeah. It is really important for that deck to be able to dodge failures and perms.
That coming up. Sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I do remember that being relevant is like booking your own stuff. So yeah, congrats to him. That's some Lunalight theory from guys who don't know how to play Lunalight, so hope you all enjoyed that. Yeah, so that was what, just under 200 people. This is 120, but I think it was close to like 160.
It was 170, yeah.
170, yeah. And then the other big regionals from this weekend was Indianapolis. This was 346. Justin Singh topped. This is Tri Radiant, Yummy, Mitsu, Azamina. This is the pilot, I assume. Yeah. Matthew McRae, who just extending his lead in the points race, who, if people don't know, he's first right now, played VS Canning. And then more Mitsu Striker, which is just hilarious to see this deck continue to succeed. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just fine to see two or three structured experts continue to perform as well as it is.
There was a lot of pure striker decks in that remote regional as well. I played against one when I was 6-0, and then played against one when I was 7-0, and they were like both pretty scary matchups.
Yeah, at least one top from what I saw. And another Odeon. Is this the same guy? Joshua Thomas. I feel like Indy's not too far from. What was the last one? Was it Chicago?
I think we might have looked at 2 Indy regionals. I think they might have just had 2 in like 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
Oh, is it really?
But we might have looked at the same one twice. I'm not sure.
No. It was Philly. Philly was the one that we looked at before.
Oh, Philly, yeah. Yeah, Odeon did top Philly for sure. I don't know if it's the same guy though.
That's what I was about to look up.
Might be stereotyping Odeon players.
I mean, there aren't too many of them out there, so it would surprise me. It was the
Mark.
14th. Sorry, now I'm locked in on. No, Erwin Ortiz and Joshua Thomas. Those are the two guys. Okay. Different Odeon players.
There's at least 2 Odeon players in the world.
There's at least 2 Odeon, and they both top 8'd, so congrats to y'all. And then this is the UK Open. This is the first one in a very long time that Jordan Gallagher did not win. So rest in peace to the streak. He still finished X2 because he's Jordan, and he's gonna hopefully qualify for Worlds. He has been very consistent, very good.
Runs over, washed.
Runs over is crazy.
Yeah, he couldn't keep it up.
Oh dude, Jordan's performance with Draco Tail was like so good, it was starting to get concerning. It was like literally every single event, it was undefeated, and then it was like you went to 4 OTSs, and he's like, yeah, I went like 16-0 or something here too, and I'm like, dude,
I'm gonna be honest, that might be like one of the most legendary Draco Tail runs.
It's insane.
And it was like the night before this event, he played like a case tournament and won that as well.
I saw that too. I'm like, dude, everything is just. It was never like, oh, he snuck in at 8th at X2. It was like, yeah, I went undefeated every event for.
Okay,
yeah.
Also, this just contributes to what I said earlier, where like obviously Jordan is doing fantastic shit. Jesse is doing like almost the same level of thing as consistently, and people just like ignore him like the entire time. He doesn't win UK Open. I think that's the difference.
That's the level, though. I think it's just the level. I think it's this thing of like people love a bit of like drama, or a bit of flair.
I think some of that too is like the region bias, which I think we'll talk about later.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've made a note of that. But it's like it's more interesting, I think, to watch someone like Triff win his first YCS than it is to watch Jesse win his 8th, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, because like there's like at the same time it's like that's like Triff is like kind of like he's actually done it. He talks about like being the best player, blah blah blah, and then like wins a YCS, and it's really cool. It's like a whole story. But like with things like Jesse and Hoban and LeBlanc winning, like what was it, like 7th YCS win for LeBlanc and 8th for Jesse, it's like it's just, I don't know, it sounds really corny, but like legendary. It's like this, adding to the legend, and that sort of thing. So they're both interesting. But yeah, with Jordan at the moment, as someone who's in close proximity, it's like infuriating. Like it just just watching him like effortlessly just kind of like stroll in. His testing is like he said on JY's channel, his testing is like locals once a week. He thinks about Yu-Gi-Oh all the time, and he just watches as much content as he can. Like a lot of like DB Grinder, a lot of like replays and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So the guy's just really switched on. Wait,
that's like my testing. What?
I was gonna say like mine is somewhat comparable. Like I think once you've been playing for enough time, you're able to transfer skills. He also just plays a lot of tournaments. Like same for Aditya, right? Like you're playing regionals every weekend, so like you're skipping out on locals, but like you're still actually playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and sometimes your testing is rounds 1 through 4 or regional, but like you're still playing a lot of games, and you may not have like the best list in the room, but you have a high baseline technical play, and that'll carry you pretty far. So
I definitely think like the thinking about the game all the time is like really important as well. Because like if anybody knows me, like I don't play DB at all. Like I mean I play like once in a while, but like it's really more just like constantly thinking about the game and seeing where like the state of the game, like what cards should be played, like.
Yeah. Alrighty, so that wraps up the meta discussion. Brad, I'll let you kind of lead the next little bit while how you wanted to kind of handle this.
Yeah, I mean it's quite it's almost like you don't even know where to start really, but it's something that like something that I've tried mainly like it started with like self-reflection. As a player you get frustrated about your own inadequacy if you do bad like at a tournament or something like that, and then you start to like think about like how honest you are with yourself about certain performances, or like, and how you start to question like why are you doing X thing, like playing Yu-Gi-Oh and this, that, and the other. And it's lost my train of thought, but it's about like what success means to you, and the notion of like how with the change of tournament structure from like top 64, top 32, all the way down to top 8, there seemed to be this very loud discourse about what counts, and this whole discussion about like that always it seems to stem from like things like ego, insecurity, the wrong, almost like the wrong reasons as to why we play this game, because we all four of us play this game, we all love it, like we do it purely for like ourselves, we do it for the enjoyment of the game, and we want to succeed, you know, like we take pride in like being successful. But I think what gets a bit it's a bit poor when it gets to the level of prescribing your idea of success onto somebody else, and that seemed to happen lately. And then it's things like that. Uh, it's the But then there's other elements too that are like needless, like making elements of the game your identity. Like if you win an event, you're that, you start going online and saying that you're the marine cess guy or the Draco tail guy or the blah, blah, you know, it's like, man, like every card has to relate to that deck that you won an event with, or there's so many things that like that, or like, and at the same time, whilst there's people that are like, you know, doing so many things about ego, there's so many people that are almost stigmatizing things based on ego or insecurity or pride. Like there was that huge conversation online about spreadsheets, needlessly talking about how spreadsheets are bad, and ultimately, it's almost like a discussion that needn't happen, and a lot of these discussions needn't happen. But it's just something that see, you know. So for me, as someone who's trying to have that healthy relationship with the game, and I've got all the notes here. We can go through them, I guess. As someone who's trying to like have a healthy relationship with the game, as someone who's put a disproportionate level of pressure on himself to perform, whilst not applying himself, um, it's almost weird to watch other people tell me what I should and shouldn't count. So that's basically it. It's like this huge. That's what I mean. It's so hard to know where to start with it all.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like this very ego-driven discussion of where realistically a player should be able to live by the metric of their own success. Like, you know, if I'm happy to like get a YCS top, or like even just top 64, I get the prize, I get the mat that says like on this day I turned up. Like to me, that's fine. But imagine like I'm taking pride in that, and then I frame it on my wall. I could there's no, you know, there's no stopping someone like Jesse Cotton walking in and going, why have you got these mats on your wall? Like what the fuck is going on? Like, you know, these are 3 losses. Like but yeah, the crazy thing is we're basically having a discussion about which non-wins matter.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to, so for me, I'll put it, you know, if it's okay with everybody here, you know, happy to go through it like a bit by bit, because obviously I've kind of just rambled a bit, and it's a lot, it's a bottlenecking information. But I just kind of like, if I go through the notes I kind of sent to Aaron a second ago, ultimately, and just see what the consensus is really, because I know apparently, you know, I'm sure you guys have that similar mindset where you are ultimately just playing the game for the love of it. You don't really need that validation from the community as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, here, Logan, how about you start it out? Just be like, what is your like experience with it? Like, I assume, I mean, mine was like when I was younger, I was way more hard on myself than I am now. So, like, do you have like kind of a story of like how you kind of progressed? Because I know you took like a big break, and I wasn't sure if that was a part of it.
Yeah, I remember I think kind of like, I don't know if it's a stigma or just like the discussion around like tops and like ego and stuff. I actually think it's gotten better over time. As somebody who was like around Yu-Gi-Oh and playing Yu-Gi-Oh like way back in the day, like I was really young, like 10, 12 years old, but I was like really into watching like the competitive players and like following them. I remember like going to locals, there'd be people at my locals who would like, I mean, they were people who have like a regional top, and it was like every week you show up at locals, like they're talking about the regional top from 2007. Like it was just like it was a way different time back then, where like people really like grabbed onto like something that, you know, a performance, and then like held themselves to a higher standard, which I have no problem, like, you know, you should be proud about like winning an event or topping an event or anything like that. But at the same time, I think there needs to, like, you need to reach a point where you're not like shunning other people or like, you know, putting them down because, you know, they're proud of their invite. where another person might be upset because they got 5th place at a regional instead of like top 4 or first or whatever. Like, it's all kind of in perspective, and it's also just like, just because you got like 17th out of regional, it doesn't mean you played worse than the person who got 3rd. Like, there's so much more that goes into it, like deck building. What deck did you bring? Like, were you having fun? Like, how'd you sleep the night before? Like, how'd you eat the night before? Were you partying? Like, there's so much into it. Like, it doesn't, like, one event doesn't really mean anything. There's like great Yu-Gi-Oh players who go 10 YCSs in a row and never top, and then, you know, they hit their peak and they hit 3 or 4 or 5 in a row where they top. Like, it all kind of averages out, and like looking at it on like an event by event basis, I don't think is a fantastic way to view things.
Yeah.
And then like in terms, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, like, one of the people I've spoken to, and you touched on it just then, was like one of the people I spoke to a lot when he was still playing was Tom Rose. And Tom Rose is like, you know, he's a two-time YCS champion, he's a national champion, and like it's this thing of like he was talking about like it's very easy for someone to like easily, and that's, we took it on as like moving the goalposts to suit your narrative, where like it's very easy for someone to kind of just go like you said, if they win, say you'll see it like an event, you go to someone and go like, how'd you do? And they go, oh, I smoked him 2-0, like no chance, da da da. And then 2 rounds go by, how'd you get on? Oh my god, it's the craziest story. Like, he opened this, da, 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 and it's like, if they lose, like, they get sacked. But like the reality is, like, as you said, there's so many other factors that play into it. If you're playing, like, you could play like a bog standard deck in a format where like there's no edge or this, that, and the other. Like, you're not taking care of yourself during the event. Like you said, like, there's so many things that could be considered like a misplay, like before the event. But these people aren't being honest with themselves, so they kind of shape that narrative to believe that they're impeccable, they haven't done anything wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think a great example of this is like when you're just looking at somebody's like tops or performances on paper, you can't really judge it because, like, for example, like myself, right? I'm sure everybody's had the experience where you've gone to a YCS, you play great, you feel like you played really solid the whole event, and you bubble, or maybe you go X2 and you get 34th or 35th or whatever. And you know, there's, you know, that could have been an event that you deserved to top. But I've also had YCSs, and this is like not even that long ago at Vancouver. YCS Vancouver, it's 10 rounds. I went 7-2-1, which is like not a fantastic record in 10 rounds. I feel like most of the event I didn't really play that great. My prep for the event wasn't great. I switched my deck like 3-4 days before. I was like learning my deck during the event, but I ended up topping that YCS. Like, if you look at it on paper, somebody's gonna say, okay, you know, I played great at Vancouver and I didn't play great at whatever other event where I didn't top. But like, it just doesn't mean anything. There's no context behind it. Like, I've had dozens of YCSs where I played 20 times better than Vancouver, but I didn't top, and I topped Vancouver. Like, it just doesn't really mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, me and you are both poker players, so we kind of have an understanding of like single event sample sizes don't really mean that much.
Yeah.
That's something that people, I think, generally don't understand, is one event or like one full month of events like is too small of a sample size to actually justify your skill level. Like, my first top was 2017. I didn't top again until I think 18 or 19, and then I didn't top for like 4 years. And I don't think I was
that's
I definitely think I improved over those 4 years, but like I consistently just like day 2 and then just like lost every round. So there was some level of performance anxiety. There's some level of like probably me not sleeping as well as I should have. Like, I probably prepared poorly in some spots. Like, there's so many different reasons as to why I didn't perform. But I also entered a lot of events, and like you would expect, just based off of like sample size and like me being like a relatively competent player, to like I would top 32. Like, it was the pre-top 8 stuff.
Yeah.
And then I show up
like,
to whatever Richmond 300th. I swap my deck 2 days before the event and I get 11s. Like, that was just like 100% just like me kind of vibes, and just like I like I said, I think I made a good deck choice, but I also recognize that like I overperformed expectation. Like, I think in most situations I don't ever perform that well again. So like that's just like me being older and more mature and just like self-aware. Like, that was like my peak expectation. Like, maybe I top that event, maybe I somehow win it, but like that's like a sub 1% outcome. Most of the time I'm like, maybe day 2, maybe I top 64, but like I don't think I played at such a high level that like, oh, I deserve to top that consistently. So I think it just,
you can also see that for what it is.
Yeah, but also I think it also takes one, just like some level of age. Also, like,
yeah,
once you have success, like I think it's easier to like have that realization. But like a lot of people that like haven't reached that level of success that they want are always just gonna like put a lot of pressure on themselves. That's like really hard to like. You don't really know what you're
Well,
going through until you've gone past it. For a lot of people, me when I was a kid, like I put
yeah,
so much pressure on myself to top 8 a regional, and I was probably never good enough to do it until I eventually did, and like I probably got lucky. But like it's just kind of an age thing and just like an experience thing. It's not really something I think you can really like you can try to talk people through it, but like it is
yeah,
incredibly difficult to like try and tell someone who wants something that like it'll come in time. Like they're not gonna like most humans just are incapable of that level of like self-awareness and like being able to be patient with like the process and the outcome.
yeah. I mean, like, I'm sorry because I realize I haven't let Aditya kind of
Yeah,
like give his 2 cents on it, but um, that is very true. I think on the basis that like so I'll speak from my experience, in the fact that like um, I got my first top in 2015, and I didn't top again until 2022, and that's it.
mm,
And it's 2 European championships, and like obviously they're for me great, like they're high points in my playing, but like between those 2 events, it's 2 events in 10 years, like or 11. This is poor, compared to like who I speak to. All the guys in my group are like bickering about the fact that they're overtaking each other and they're on like 12 tops or 15 or whatever. But it was a combination. What makes it bad is, like you said, you can't turn off how you feel in the fact. So, like when people say to me, like, "Oh, just don't worry about it so much. Like you've done it," but I wanted to do it on the YCS level, and then you can't turn off how you feel. But I've had to like really kind of not compartmentalize it or dissect it, but in a sense, just try and look at it as like how much time are you putting in? Is it application or talent? And if it's application, then like it's a simple case of applying yourself a bit more. And if I'm not applying myself, that's the issue. And it's over those 10 years or 11 years where I'm like, I'm not play testing, I'm not learning, I'm turning up to half of my events like ill prepared, I'm getting knocked out. And there's been points where I'm blaming the game. Like I remember 2018 was probably the only time where I felt truly like fine to say that, because that was like a year where like it was always just like an FTK here, an FTK there. Um, and it felt like there was very little incentive to perform or try, because yeah, sometimes it's like you acknowledge that like it won't matter if I play better than them because it's an FTK type element, but it doesn't matter. And the reality should be, I mean, look at it, look at the guys who are like performing well. They don't give a shit, like they're turning up and they're just cracking on. Like the mentality is always just like, it doesn't matter, like this is another opportunity to perform. Whereas I didn't. And then what's happening then is like it's that saying as well, like the longer, like I think you said as well, like the longer you go without it, the harder it gets. So like it's been years and years and years, no YCS performance. So now everything else, even it seems to like bleed into other things too. Like like I said, I was playing the OTS recently. I'm like getting nervous. I'm getting nervous because like I haven't done anything in years, and I'm starting to get like, come on, like I at least need my invite for fuck's sake. Like last year, I couldn't even get my invite. I was 131st out of in 20 at Nats, 131st, and it was 128 get their invite. You know what I mean? But I acknowledged that I wasn't playing a lot. Um, but it's just like a lot of it is like I'm putting this disproportionate level of pressure on myself, and then it takes away from the game as well.
yeah.
So yeah, it ultimately is just a case of like really before you go into an event, you have to be honest with yourself in terms of like how much time have I put in here. Like even if like people like Jordan or Aditya aren't playing, but they're still thinking about the game frequently, they're dialed in. They still have this like mountain of experience, and like they're still like relatively thinking about it, so they know what they should and shouldn't be expecting. But yeah, like yeah, it's ridiculous. But sorry, I just realized I haven't let
No, you're
Aditya
good.
talk at all,
So
and
I
I'm
was
just
gonna.
talking over everyone.
So
Oh,
Aditya,
you're
like
all
you have
good.
reached. Aditya, you have reached levels of success that a lot of people like can only dream of. Like you've back-to-back WCQ finals, you qualified for Worlds a couple of times. So I want to kind of frame it a little bit differently for you. So like you've kind of reached the success that a lot of people have. Obviously, you can say I want to win Worlds. There's like less than 25 world champions lifetime. So like that's just like obviously a goal, but like a pretty unrealistic one just on average. So like what keeps you playing? Like why are you still doing it after reaching like the peak of the mountain?
Um, so at a baseline, I just have to say whatever. Like I always like set the bar very high for myself, no matter what it is I do, or at least I always try to. And more importantly, I have to enjoy what it is that I'm doing. That's non-negotiable. If I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh, if I'm working, if I'm going to the gym, like whatever I do, I'm gonna set the bar high for myself, but I have to love what I'm doing. There is no there is no like what's the word for it?
Like you can't like replace
Like
it.
you don't want to make it feel like a
Yeah.
job, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I just always have to want to do what I'm doing, and that way the always thinking about it, always wanting to do it, always going to events like every weekend, it'll be enjoyable to me. Like I think in April I'm going to 4 different events. Again for all things I love.
Mm.
Going to Guatemala City. I'm going to 2 regionals. 2 regionals? 1 or 2 regionals. I'm going to the Riftbound in Atlanta, and then I'm going to YCS Vegas. So it's more like advice, I'd say at this point, but success is completely self-defined. Don't let what anyone
Mhm.
else say like change that.
Yeah.
But this is
So
it.
if
This is
you
this.
feel if you feel good, if you set the goalpost for yourself saying like I want to top a YCS, and then you have to define for yourself what it is exactly you want to do. Do you want to top 32? Do you want to top 8? Like what it is
Mm.
you want to do, and that is your goal. And you push towards that goal, and then things change. You can move the goalposts afterwards. So like perfect example. Like when I came into the competitive scene, I came in with 4 goals in mind that I wanted to do. I wanted to like win at every single um, level of competition, like stemming from locals all the way up to the world championship. Um, I'm very, very lucky. I'm very, very grateful to have a very good support system that has helped me through and helped me achieve almost all of those goals now. I only have 1 left. Hopefully we can get it this year. But as I said, like you're gonna hit like bumps along the way. You're gonna hit bad downfalls. You're gonna have really really good upswings as well. But what's most important is that you're enjoying what you do, regardless of how you do, and it'll just make the journey a lot easier.
Yeah. To add to that, the one thing that he mentioned that I think is really important to point out is to set the goal and then like you don't move the goalpost until afterwards. Like that's something I think I'm
Yeah.
like really guilty of is like I like reach a level of success and maybe I didn't define it beforehand, but like I just like can't ever be present and content with my success before I'm already like, oh, I should have done better or whatever. Like I think Richmond was the first time where I was like happy. I was like, I got 11. Like obviously I would like to have won, but like I said, I was already just happy that I got to where I was. And now I think it was the first time where like I wasn't just like immediately just like mad or frustrated that I lost. Um, because I was just like, yeah, like this was an overperformance. But I think a lot of people, um, like they lose and there's immediately like, oh my god, like whatever, like. But like sometimes just like being present, like enjoying the level of success you did accomplish. Obviously, like
Yeah.
only one person's gonna win. So if everyone else is disappointed in that situation, like it's acceptable. But like it's a really hard way to live if like you just like automatically just like are frustrated and mad and like didn't enjoy the experience. Like I think being present and trying to have some
Yeah.
level
Like
of grace with yourself is really important.
because that's what I'm talking about generally with regards to the whole topping thing was like and I said it earlier, we're trying to determine which non-wins are valid. And I understand that like tops was this and it is a culture driven thing. When people start talking and comparing the number of tops that they have. But ultimately, if you're then going to then turn to somebody at a later point and like, for example, like if I was in your position and I got 11th at that event, I think it's like we talked about, I touched on it earlier again, is a matter of perspective, and there's like a level of things like milestones and ticking boxes and level of achievement. I'd be stoked with that. Granted, if it was like the 4th or 5th time, I'd be like, come on now, I really like to be in top 8. but it's like seeing it for what it is like a healthy thing. But for me, it was like when we get to that level where, like, let's say you get like 11th and you were really happy with your position, for somebody else to turn to you and go, it doesn't count though. Why? What is the point? Like, what is the point of that conversation? Like, the needless. So when they did that change in tournament structure, the discussion around it it's so loud. It's just noise, like so much noise about what counts, what doesn't count, and I don't know. It's I don't know if it's like exhausting is probably the most accurate word, but I don't know how anybody else felt about it. Where it's like, imagine you are striving to just like get to that next milestone, and like, I mean, it's different because everybody in this call right now is just a killer. Bar me, I'm a bum, but it's you're past that point. But for somebody who hasn't done it, when now the bar's higher, oh, it has to be top 8, it has to be top 8, or it doesn't count, you're still a nobody, and it's almost like, what we like.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I mean. Like, it's almost like that conversation seems to stem from a need for validation, and then that's why I'm asking these questions, because, like, in the sense of like, are you really doing it for yourself? If you have to turn to somebody else and go, that doesn't count. You can't count that one. My tops matter more than yours.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think it just becomes a thing. Like, the more competitive you are at a game, and the better you are at a game, losing just like feels worse than winning feels good. And there's just no way around that, because once you've felt good about winning, it's hard to ever top that again. Like, once you've done it once, it's really hard to replicate that, because it's just going to get harder every time, and like eventually, like, it's going to get to a point where to feel content with yourself, you're gonna have to do things that are like borderline impossible, or like, win an event that has 3,000 players in it, right? Like, if you're not first, then you're gonna be upset, right?
Yeah. That's totally fine.
Like,
that's fine in the sense that you set those stones, you set those goals for yourself.
Yeah, but then some people project them onto you as well.
Yeah, like if I get top 64 at a YCS, right, and I get my rubber mat, and I want to put it on the wall with the other 2 mats, right? I don't care if I seem like a lame-o. Like, I'm gonna go up to Jordan and Vlad and all my pals and go like, "I did it!" Like 10 years, like, and that's, to me, is a healthier response, because like there was a few guys from at YCS Dortmund, Josh Kelly, who's in the world's race for us, Connor Zhu, who has topped 2 YCS, no, topped a YCS, and you know these guys, right? Yeah. And there was another guy, Corey, right? Sound guy, really nice guy. They all they didn't make top 8. They all were in the realm of like top 16, top 64, and they're all super stoked. They're all just like happy, right? But like, that's great. That's like, we want to be in a community that's more driven around the positivity of like, that's a solid effort, as opposed to doesn't count.
Yeah.
Like,
I also think it's a Yu-Gi-Oh thing. If you look at like sports, like for example, look at like MLB baseball, right? If a team wins their division, there's 5 teams in that division. They could win the division, lose the playoffs, whatever. They end up finishing 10th place out of 30 teams, right? The next year, they have a ceremony. They have a ceremony. They have a parade. Like, they'll have a banner drop down from the ceiling for winning their division. Like that. It's just not like that in Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, every sport, like, you can say it's a participation trophy. You can say it's like,
you can definitely like, people are mad that their teams are making the NBA playoffs because they're like, I want a better draft pick. Like, I definitely think that there's levels to it.
Like,
I think
MLB, you win your division, they're popping champagne like for an hour.
It is
like,
it's a healthy level
different
of perspective that I think a lot of people don't have.
Like,
I think Yu-Gi-Oh is actually very fortunate. Like, I think Jesse is like one of the best possible ambassadors for the game. I think Ryan Yu is also someone who I respect very highly. And despite his youth, he's obviously older now. I think he's like 21, maybe 22 now. He's still just incredibly wise. And incredibly just like communicative. Like, hey, like, success is everything. Take care of your mind, your body. Jesse's just like, yeah, success is what you deem it to be. Like, there's a lot of positives out there in the community. Like, you can obviously look to like some loud people that aren't, but like, I don't want.
Josh is the same.
Yeah, Josh is also good at it.
And I spoke to Josh years ago about it, because like, it was one of the first couple of conversations I had with him, and it was like, I had to ask on the basis that I thought, this guy's like a legend. You know what I mean? Like this guy has been in the game forever, worlds multiple times. I just asked him. I said, like, how do you avoid having ego? Do you know what I mean? Because there are some people that would have done less, and like it goes straight to their head.
Yeah.
And I think it obviously is a matter of perspective, or as you said, it's a matter of age thing. He's not, to be fair, he's not that old. He's like younger than, I think he's like 30 or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was like 2020 or some 2022. Anyway, like he's I think he's gone through it in terms of like he's had to face it, like that thing of like going, you have to avoid letting that ego take over and this, that, and the other in terms of like, because he's done it. And what I find weird about it is like you see, like you said, Jesse, really humble, nice bloke. And there's so many other people like 3 wins, 4 wins, whatever, and they're all really nice. And then there's the guys who have done less that are like loud, like I won a YCS, da 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 da, like makes that's their identity. Like no one's better than me. I'm the world's best. And the reality is, there's bigger fish. So why are we like, what are we doing? Like why are we throwing our weight around?
Come out and say this because this is not intent. Like this is not anyone here shitting on Triff. Like I just want to make clear. Like it may sound like we're just like this is like a Triff roast session.
Triff is really nice.
Triff is like he does not. I'll say he's been a part of this conversation for like I think on both sides. And I just want to make that abundantly clear. Like this is not about Triff. I think he's a fantastic dude, very kind, very generous.
It's also a lot of content farming going on with Triff. You have to look past that. Yeah.
If you meet him in person, he's a super genuine, nice guy. I just wanted to like, as someone listening to this conversation, I just want to make sure that was like set out right. Yeah. There's plenty of people who fit this description that aren't as boisterous as he is. But I just wanted to make sure his persona was not like attacked. Like
no, there's nice I'm thinking of people that generally like because you see I've seen guys who have like done well and then they're horrid to their opponents. Like you see like replays or streams or whatever, and they're horrible. Like
all right, let's start naming all the names.
Okay, that was what I was gonna say. I'm actually avoiding saying
names. This isn't notes about the thing. This is a shopping list.
Let's do this is a shit list that Brad brought to us.
Yeah, name and shame.
The tier list stuff is so toxic, bro.
S tier, Aditya Darap.
Yep.
Great.
Alrighty. I think that's a pretty good place to end it. We may come back and do this conversation again at some point. This was, I think, pretty enjoyable. Any final thoughts, Brad?
No, I mean, like I have more on the other side of that discussion in regards to like casual. I think it's like the casual side stigmatizing the competitive element. But
that's a different combo for a different day, I think.
Yeah, that's no problem. I'm grateful to be on. Thank you guys for your time. I really appreciate it.
Very good conversation to have. And we've alluded to a lot of this over time. And I think people like need to hear it. And if they like, hopefully they've stuck around this entire time because this is good information. And again, sometimes it takes time, sometimes it takes experience, it takes age. But I think this is like ways for you to like live a happy life, and that's just like one way that you can like kind of transfer that knowledge from Yu-Gi-Oh elsewhere.
I think you're just trying to have like a healthy relationship with your hobbies and your passions. You know what I mean? Like it's hard enough. Like Yu-Gi-Oh should be like in a sense of escapism. You know what I mean? Like we all work or we're all doing something outside of it. So to ultimately then come into it and then have this negativity, pressure, whatever have you, is senseless. So ultimately I'm trying to like, I don't want to come on here and it's like a piss and moan type conversation. It's more trying to advocate positivity. And like I said at the very start, the way to look at it is like we've said, living by that metric of your own success. If people like, if I want to just be happy with top 64, for example, or Aditya is setting the bar really high for himself, or Logan's setting the bar high for himself, or you know what I mean? Like teach their own, but make it, if you stay in your own lane, that's it.
Yeah, it is.
So, but yeah,
it is so easy to just like, I was talking with someone recently, I think it was like my roommate, and I was like, it is so easy to just like live your life and shut up. Like I used an expletive at the end of that. But like it is just so easy to just like live your life, and if you have like problems with yourself, like whatever, but like you don't need to like project that onto other people. Like it's just so easy to like just not involve others.
So, like one quick side note, something that especially I've started to notice this like kind of every year. I get this like seasonal depression with Yu-Gi-Oh, where like November, December, there's like not a lot of events going on. There's like, because of holidays, New Year's, like Thanksgiving, everything, there's not a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh happening, and I'm not like playing in person. And then every year it happens like around January, February, like I start going to regionals, I start going to locals, and my enjoyment of the game is just so much, it's way better when I'm playing in person. So like I highly encourage anybody, like even if you think you're like above locals, like above going to locals, I don't think you're ever above going to locals. It's like go there, playing in person, play some different decks, like talk to people, network. I think it just like it's really good for your mental health, and it's good for like your enjoyment of the game, like the social aspect.
Nah, like, if you say you're above going to locals, you're just lying. Sorry.
100%, dude. The locals will humble you the most.
I go to locals, bro. Like I don't. It's not like I win every locals either. Like.
Yeah.
Dude, I think I'm more nervous at locals than at a YCS. I'm like 100% serious.
I'll shamefully admit that like at a point, I used to kind of like stigmatize the competitive nature of my locals. So me and my testing partner, or like my friend, would actually sit outside of the locals in terms of like separate, and we would just play against each other, and that felt like work in a sense. I was just trying to like get the most value out of my time. But then what I've found is like you said, I'm not above playing locals. I'm not above networking. And like, so over the last year or so, I've made a very, very conscious effort to really speak to everybody and just try and make it like a community, because the environment's great. And like I said before, it's escapism. It's where we go. We spend our free time. So, get stuck in.
Yeah, alrighty. I think it's a strong place to wrap it up. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Aditya and Brad, for making your way out. Logan, thanks for not dodging this time around. Much appreciated, sir.
Whoa!
Whoa, yeah. It only took 2 regional tops for him to join again. I understand. He has to hit the quota. Alrighty, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.